Hello students, this is teacher Brenda. Now welcome to lesson 14 in which I will walk you through on the basics of fractions. Okay, as you can see in your module, there is a bubble map. Now this bubble map is meant for you to go through and revise what are the things that you need to know in this topic of fractions. Now let's start. If anyone asks you, what is a fraction? What would be the one word that you would say? How would you define fraction? So the first thing is fraction. You must all understand that there's only one way to describe it. It's division. If you can remember fraction as division, it will make your life way much easier. Now, what do I mean by that? It means if I say 2 divide by 3, I mean 2 over 3. It means 2 over 3. Okay? 2 divide by 3 means 2 over 3. 5 divide by 10. It means 5 over 10. And simplify this, I'll get half. So, the first thing that you understand about fraction is it's a division. It can be easily converted from a division. Then the next part is you learn. Okay, I'm sorry here. I'm going to go back here. Okay, and the next part would be for you to learn about the types of fractions. So when you're now in standard 5, you should know that we have something called a proper fraction. Okay, and the opposite of it would be an improper fraction. Okay, an improper fraction. Now, if I'm going to ask you, I'm sure most of you would kind of remember what is a proper and what is an improper fraction. Okay, and you would most definitely go by the definition of saying, oh, the numerator and the denominator is bigger and smaller and whatever not. So yes, you are right. In a proper fraction, if I were to ask you to give an example, you would say that the numerator, the number on top of the fraction is small and the number at the bottom of the fraction is big. So that's a proper fraction. Example, 2 over 3, 5 over 7, 1 over 4. These are all examples of proper fraction, where the number on top, which we call as the numerator, is smaller than the number at the bottom, which we call as the denominator. Okay, you should know these terms, numerator, denominator. So this is what you have understood so far from proper fractions. Now the opposite will be true for improper fractions. For example, 5 over 7. And in proper fraction, it would, oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry. 5 over 7 is an example of proper fraction. 7 over 5 would be an example of an improper fraction. So what I would like you to do on your module is to actually write an example. Let's do with an example. So go on to write a proper fraction. Let's choose 3 over 4. 3 over 4 is our example of proper fraction. And I would like you to draw. Draw a rectangle that shows 3 over 4 parts. So you divide it into 4 parts. Okay, 3 over 4 means 3 divide by 4. Then you shade 3 parts. Okay, that's how you show 3 over 4. Now on the other side, if I have an improper fraction which is 4 over 3, then I should draw a rectangle that shows 3 parts because it's divided into 3. However, I'll need to shade 4 parts and thus I will need to draw another rectangle and also equally divide it into 3 parts. And now I can shade 4 parts. So shade 1, shade 2, shade 3, and shade 4. This is where you get your 4 over 3. Okay, now if you look carefully between these two fractions, you can obviously see that the proper fraction is a fraction which is smaller than 1 whole. 1 whole means it's everything, 4/4. But the improper fraction is always going to be bigger than 1. There's going to be one complete whole fraction there. In this case, 3/3. You see? So 4/3 is made up of 3/3 plus with 1/3. So this is the drawing for 3/3. This is the drawing for 1/3. Now, of course, 3/3 is 1 whole plus with 1/3. It's a proper fraction. Join it together and here you go. You have your mixed number. So only from improper fraction, you can actually change it to become what we call as the mixed number. And mixed number is also a number where it has a whole number part and a fractions part. Okay? You can always be able to change in between improper fraction to a mixed number or mixed number to improper fraction. So over here, I'm going to write down here. Okay, you should write 3/3 plus 1/3. That gives me 1/3. That's my mixed number. Okay, so in that way, you can remember now what is a mixed number. How do you change it to an improper fraction? Now, of course, the changing and the conversion, all this is actually done in your lower primary, in your standard 4, standard 3. Okay, so I'm just revising here. So how do you convert from an improper fraction to go to a mixed number? So I'm going to give you an example, a very quick one. Let's say we have 5/3. That's an improper fraction, correct? So you must know that inside this 5/3, there is 3/3. Correct or not? There'll be a whole number which is full. Why do I choose 3? Because the denominator is 3. And so 3 plus what gives you 5? Obviously, it's 2/3. And thus, the 3/3 is 1 whole. And then add in with the 2/3, it looks like this, 1 2/3. Done. Now, that same 1 2/3, if I wanted you to convert it to a mixed number, to an improper fraction, sorry, from a mixed number, all you need to understand is this one is made up of 3/3. And this 2/3, you just add 2/3. And here you go, you will have 5/3. Now, of course, you must be very familiar by now, the multiplication and addition method. But I'll only tell you that you must use this method when you understand what is this. Okay, when you understand this, when you understand what is 1 2/3, it means 3/3 plus 2/3, then you use this shortcut method to get to your improper fraction. You take 3 times 1 plus 2. Literally, can you see? You are doing 3 plus 2. Okay? And you get your 5/3. This is how you convert. And there's another way, of course. The last way is you take 5 and you divide by 3. As I told you, fraction is a division. So 5/3 means 5 divide by 3. So do your normal division. 3, remaining 2. So if you notice, this 1 means the 1 whole. The remaining 2 means I have 2 more that I cannot be divided by 3. So that's how you do a normal long division to also turn it into a mixed number. Either you can separate it this way based on your understanding, count how many wholes, or do a normal long division. To convert a mixed number, you can also use this method or use the times and addition method to get to your mixed number. So that's division. Okay, that's learning fraction as a division. knowing that there is proper fraction, which is fraction that's less than 1, and improper fraction, which is fraction that's more than 1, and improper fraction converts to a mixed number, okay? And vice versa, knowing how to convert them. Now, after that, what do you learn? In Standard 4, you would have learned how to add and subtract fractions. Okay, that's what you would have learned in Standard 4. Now in Standard 5, okay, you are going to learn how to multiply fractions. Of course, in Standard 6, you will learn how to divide fractions. Now, what's the last part here? Is actually linking up fractions with its cousins, which is the decimals, understanding fractions as decimals as well as percentages. So that will be some of the other things that we will cover later. But for now, okay, we are going to look into the operations. These are the basics. And then we will go into addition, subtraction, multiplying fractions. Okay. So last but not least, of course, after doing all this, you would have something called the word problems. So let's clear this first page and move to the second page. Now you can see the fraction diagrams. Now, these are important diagrams that I want you to observe, look carefully. Okay. This is one whole. Okay. A whole. All right. Maybe it's a banana cake. And I divide it into two parts. Okay. So one is called half and the other is called the other half. Complete it, it will be 2 over 2, and that's the same as one whole. Now remember, fraction can also be of parts. For example, if I say that this whole thing wasn't just one, but rather $10. Okay, let's say it's $10. It's easier when it comes as money. What is half? What is half of 10? You're going to say this is 5 and this is 5. Do you understand? And if I made this 100, you're going to say this 50 and 50. If I made this 1,000, then you're going to say half is 500 and 500. Vice versa, I could put any number here. I'm going to put here 1,200 and I'm going to ask you what is half? So half means literally you're always going to divide by 2. How does half look like? Half looks like this. And what does this mean? It means take 1 and divide by 2. So half of 100 is 50. Half of 1,200 is 600. See, the fraction is just a fraction, but the value can be more than 1, can be anything. Okay? So let's clear and let's look at this. Now, in this fraction, the second one, it's divided into 3 equal parts, 1, 2, and 3. So when you have one part, you shade one part, you call it as 1 over 3. You shade two parts, you call it as 2 over 3 or 2/3. And you shade three parts, you call it 3 over 3, and that's one whole. Let's say I say that this is 90. The total here is 90. So if I want to find 1/3, I'm going to take 1 over 3 of 90, So I'm going to times with 90. And what do I get? I'll get 30. So every part is $30 or 30 apples or 30 whatever it could be. I want you to understand this when you're learning fractions. So now you've got quarters. Fraction or a bar can also be divided into 4 parts. As you can see clearly, divide into 2 parts, divide into 3 parts, divide into 4 parts, divide into 5 parts. Okay, divide into 6 parts into, okay, they didn't show 7 here, okay, but you can still have divide into 7. Then they have divide into 8, divide into 9, divide into 10 parts, and divide into even 12 parts. Now, take note of this, the 10 parts, because this is really special. So I'm going to explain a little bit here. This 1 over 10 here, this is the same as your decimal 0.1. Okay, so when I come to that, we will recap this again. Just a quick one. So what I want you to do on this empty fraction is to redo this diagram. What you see on your second page, redo it again. Okay, write out the different parts. Now let's go to the module where we will see we are on page 4 right now. Now, literally, what we want to do here is put in the missing fractions. Now, what are these missing fractions? Look at this. This is called a number line. A line with numbers is called a number line. So it starts at 0, then it goes half, then it goes 1. So what do you think is the number here? Then it goes to 2. So yes, you have got that right. This is 1.5. Then you go to 2, then you're going to get 2.5. Then you're going to go 3, and you're going to get 3.5. Key in these answers or write in these answers on your module. Let's clear this now. Now look at this. It continues here. 7, 7.5. Of course, I think you know what goes here. It's 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10, 10.5. Got it? Let's clear this. Look at the third line, the third number line. It starts at 0, but look, we go to 1/3, then we go 2/3, then only we reach 1 whole. What do you think is the first part here? Of course, it must have a 1. You already have 1 here. And you're going to have that 1/3 joining you again. Then you see 1 and 2/3. Then you're going to have a full 2. Then you're going to have 2 and 1/3. And finally 2 and, that's right, 2/3. Okay? Well done. Now, let's move on to the next number line. 5 and 1/3, 5 and 2/3, 6. I believe you know what to put here. 6 and 1/3, 6 and 2/3, 7. Okay, and then 7 and 1/3, 7 and 2/3, 8. So this gives you a clear understanding, okay, of your fractions. So in the same way, here it's 1/4, 2/4, then yes, it's 3/4. Then 4/4 is 1 whole. Then 1/4, and then 1 2/4, and then 1 3/4, and 2. Okay, so in a similar way, you can also complete this. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, which is 1 whole. Okay, so all the best in completing. This is how you should do your page 4 on your module. Now, after that, you move on to page 5. Again, there are number lines. However, they are all in halves. Most of them are in halves. Okay, because your concept of half is really important. So you have 52, 52.5, 53, 53.5, 54, 54.5. So complete it in halves. Now this number line is going up in steps of 1.5. Note the point, note the pattern. It's going up in 1.5. Okay, it's making like 2 jumps of half. It's making like half, half, half. 3 jumps of half, in fact. Okay, that's 1.5. So, in other words, it's almost like 1 ringgit and 50 cents. If you add up another 1 ringgit and 50 cents, where do you go? You'll get 3 ringgit. Am I right? That's how from 0, 1.5 becomes 3. And you add another 1 ringgit and 50 cents, you're going to get 4 ringgit and 50 cents, right? That's 4.5. Add another $1.50, you're going to reach $6. So that's where you get 6. Then add 6 plus 1.5. So you will get 7.5. Okay, so that's what you write here, 7.5. Now, if I want to do 7.5 plus 1.5, how does that look like? So look here carefully. 7 and 1, it's already 8. Half and half, it's another plus 1. So this is 9. So 7.5 after that. it goes to become 9. Then you can complete the rest. Look at this. Number 3. This number line is going up in steps of 1.5. Again, same thing like this. Okay, go up. 15, 15 plus 1.5. So 15 plus 1 is 16.5. Okay, that's what you get here. 16.5 plus 1.5. So 16 plus 1 is 17. Half and half is 1. So 17 plus 1 is 18. Okay, that's how you get your 18. Now, number 4 is a bit different because now it goes up in 2.5. Okay, so how do you do that? Start with 10 plus with 2.5. So how do you get 12.5? 2.5 is simple, just 2.5 like that. So 10 plus 2, it's 12.5. Okay, so let's start with 15. 15 plus 2.5. Where do you go? 15 plus 2, 17.5. So write it out. Okay, 17.5. And so on, complete the number line. All right. Next, again, fill in the missing numbers. Some of these sequences are going up or going down in steps of a half. Look at them carefully. 20, 20.5. So this is going up. 21, 21.5. 22, 22.5. 23, 23.5. 24. That's how it goes. Now let's look at number 14. Oh, sorry, number 2. Huh? So you have 14, 14.5. Again, it's going up. I believe you can do this. Now, how about number 3? Now, you look at number 3, it's going down. Going down means 26, and it's becoming 25.5. Do you understand? You just take away half. So it looks like here you are 26, here you are having 25, and this is 25.5. Correct or not? So from 26, if I went back half, I'm going to reach 25.5. That's what it is here. And after that, I'm going to reach 25. You see that? So what do you think will be here? After this 25, it is going to be 24.5. You understand? Then only it will reach 24. So if I'm going to draw out the number line, guys, okay, this is somewhat how it's going to be. This is your 25, and then this is your 24. But before reaching 24, you have 24.5, correct or not? So from 25, if I want to go back half, I will reach 24.5. That's what you're going to write here. Then I'll reach 24, correct? After that, go back half. This is 23. So in the middle, it will be 23.5. So you write 23.5. 23 then. 22.5, 22. So in that way, you go back in halves. Okay? All this practice is very important for you to get a good understanding of your halves. Similarly, you can complete all these other exercises. 16, go down, go back, 15.5. Of course, this is now going down in 1.5, if you notice that. Okay? Because remember, you're at 16. Oh, sorry. It's going back only down in halves. So you have here 15, and here it's 15.5. So it's not really 1.5, it's half only. Half, 15.5. So it's going down in halves, minus half. Go down another half, then only you will reach 15. Okay, so all this is going down in steps of halves only. Now, that's your page 5. Okay. Now, all this is a revision. It's not even of standard 6, as I told you. Sorry, it's not in standard 5 because standard 5, what you're learning is multiplication of fractions. And you're also going to have with decimals and percentages. That's the part of standard 5. So all this is standard 4, standard 3. Okay. Now, over here, This is a quick practice on your, remember this? Your improper fraction, okay, and your mixed number. So these are fractions, 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 wholes. That's why you write 3.5. So what about the rest? This is 1 whole. So 1 whole, but 4/4, correct? And this is 1/4. So you keep your 1/4. Do you understand? Now this is 1 whole, 2 wholes. So you'll have 2 as your whole number, and then 2/3. So write 2/3. Similarly, you can do this. Now for exercise B, shade. Take a color pencil and shade the fractions to represent. How do you color 2 and 1/3? So color the whole here 1, another 1. So this is your 2. Okay, the 2 is coming here, 1 and 2. And then you only color 1/3. So you're going to color 1 part out of 3 parts. How about 2, 5/6? So shade 2 again, all color the whole thing. And then 5/6 for the third fraction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/6. Similarly, you can do for number 2 and 4. Clear? And then exercise C is rather a simple one, asking you to draw lines to match the mixed numbers, which is this one, to the shaded fractions. Okay, I believe you can do that. Now the next page is where you go and do your addition of fractions. But this is so easy because why? The rule to add or to subtract fractions is only a simple rule. That is, the denominator must be the same. If your denominator, the number at the bottom is the same, then you can immediately add or subtract the fraction, but you must only work with the numerator, the number on top. So, 2/5 plus 1/5 is something over 5. Just add the numerator, 2 plus 1, 3/5. 2/7 plus 4/7, add the numerator, 6/7. Done. Number 8 is 6/11 minus 3/11. It's over 11 because the denominator is the same. Take 6 minus 3 and you'll get 3. So in that similar way, all the numbers here are pretty easy because the denominator is the same. Add or subtract following the question. Now, however, on your 8th page, you will see that the denominator is not the same. So if it's not the same, then we make it the same. So look at this first question, 1/3 plus 3/6. The 1/3 plus 3/6, I'm going to keep my 3/6 and instead I'm going to change that 1/3 to become something over 6. Okay, so what do I do? So this is where you learn two things, expanding a fraction. Okay, when you want to expand, what you're doing now is expanding or finding the equivalent fraction. Expanding means multiply. And when you multiply, what you do at the bottom or what you do at the bottom, you must also do at the top. It must be same. So 3, how did it become 6? I times 2. That's how I get 6. Don't go plus. It's all multiplication at this point. When you want to expand, you multiply. When you multiply something at the bottom, you must multiply it at the top. So 1 also will times 2 and you will get 2/6. These 1/3 and 2/6 are called equivalent fractions. So at this point, let me explain. If I multiply 2 and also multiply 2, I'm going to get 2/6. But if I divide 6 divide by 2, I'm going to get 3. 2 divide by 2, I'll get 1. And that's called simplifying. Okay, there's two things you really need to know in fraction is expanding and simplifying. Expanding use multiplication. Simplifying uses division. So when you divide something at the bottom, you also divide it with the top. You got to do it both ways. So with that understanding, you can do the rest of the questions here. Let's look at the module. And let's look at question number 3. For example, 1 over 5 plus 4 over 15. Of course, I'm going to change the 5 to 15. That's why the 4 over 15 is written again. You don't change anything. But the 1 over 5 has to become something over 15. How did the 5 become 15? Times 3. So this also times 3. 1 times 3 becomes 3. So now you have something you can do. 3 plus 4, 7 over 15. Denominator is the same. So in that same way, whether it's addition over here, I think it's all addition. Okay, the questions are all addition. So change it to a common denominator and add. Over here, subtract. Same thing as well. You need to change it to a common denominator and then only subtract. So I will do one more question from here. Let's do question number 18. Okay, so I have 23 over 24. 23 over 24 minus 2 over 3. So obviously I've got to change or do something to my 3 here to make it also 24. All right, so I want to have a common denominator. So I'll take 23 over 24. But this time my 3 is going to change to become 24 as well. So how did the 3 become 24? Times 8. You see that? 3 times 8 is 24. So 2 also will times 8. And 2 times 8 is 16. So now I'm going to get 23 minus 16. And that's what I've got to do for the top part. 23 minus 16. Now, 23 minus 16 is how much, guys? It's, I think, if you really don't know how to do, then do the standard written method. 23 minus 16, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 7 over 24. And that's your answer. Okay, so I hope that you can complete this module with a little bit of basics there. And this is all revision up to your standard 4. Okay, standard 5, we will do it next week. And it will start with multiplications. Hope you can do all of these questions confidently. And I will see you then for the next lesson. Till then, take care. Bye.